Hello, this is the 48th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2222, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Thank you for listening to us another week.
Thank you.
Because if you're hearing this, you're listening. And we appreciate that. We get quite a few emails. And people email us when they hear an episode. This is episode, what did I just say?
48, yeah?
48.
Yep, number 48.
So how can they reach us?
You people listening to us right now, please email us at michaellasagna5@gmail.com. And in the subject, put the number 48. And that way we'll know that you're replying or writing to us because you heard this.
Yeah, but only, of course, if you're listening to 48. So if you're listening to 47, put 47 in the subject. And if you listen to 53, put 53 in the subject.
Number 100, you should put the number 100.
Okay. So now let's see if you understand this. So what do you do with episode 27?
That's right, number 27.
Exactly. And we're really interesting about that because...
That was one that so number 29 is the first we got replies to, so
if
we don't know if 27 went anywhere.
Exactly. If you actually hear episode 27, really, really send us lots of emails.
Spam us.
Exactly. I thought before we start, one interesting news bit I read that kind of ties into what we were discussing about last time. It's the Borneo nose monkeys.
Right, the barista who made me that tasty coffee in Atlantis.
Exactly. So they are actually from Borneo.
Ah, okay.
And they figured out how to use teleporters.
Okay.
So they are now everywhere.
Running coffee or working in coffee shops?
That's not what the news said. It just basically said Borneo nose monkeys figured out teleporters. So, and of course they are there. They're animals.
Sure,
they can do whatever they want. But I mean, animals have been seen. I mean, the non-sentient animals have been seen going in and out of teleporters. But like they go in, they go out. They have no idea what's in there.
Right, they were a bit confused.
But the nose monkeys figured out if I press this, poof, they go somewhere.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that maybe explains a little bit what we discussed about last week. You want to know what we discussed about last week? Listen to the episode.
Number 47.
Oh.
We try to keep the numbers consecutive.
Yeah, we're straightforward like that. So this week we speak about Mercury.
Right. Was it Bob asked us last week? He had a question. We went a little bit, but then we figured we'd do a more expansive episode on it this week.
Yeah. So first we have the nose monkey tying into last week. It's really like this 2-episode twin broadcast where everything... In this episode we wrap everything up.
No
No
loose ends going on into the future.
Exactly. So maybe we'll have a cliffhanger about some other tech.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to describe what we use Mercury for?
Yeah. So nearly all of the energy that we use here on Earth comes from Mercury. We used to produce it here locally, but now it comes from Mercury. And where does it come from? Well, Mercury, it's solar power. Mercury is close enough to the sun that one side of it is always facing the sun. The gravity of the sun is so strong. So what that means is that half of Mercury is completely coated in solar panels and just absorbs as much as it absorbs a whole lot of sunlight and converts it into electricity. And that's then beamed back here to Earth for us to use. What else to say?
I understood that back in the past we used solar power directly.
Right, we used to have solar panels here on Earth.
But I think it was about 100 years ago or so where the Earth started to cool. So it's been warming up ever since then. Maybe because they were using all the solar power. I don't know. But like they had global warming. And then I think we mentioned already in previous episodes we had global cooling then.
Right, and the global cooling was from... global warming was from before that, like where the ice caps were melting, the sea levels were rising. But then we started collecting so much of the sun's energy, power, and converting it into electricity that there wasn't enough left for the atmosphere, so everything started cooling down.
Yeah.
And then at first that was good. It offset the warming from before, but then it went a bit too far.
Yeah, exactly. It's like almost getting into an ice age, and then But then
which worked out for the woolly mammoths, but it was causing other issues. So that's why we then moved to Mercury for nearly all of the production of electricity.
Yeah. I did actually look up a little bit because I knew about the reflector shields, but I didn't know all the details. And I looked it up. I forgot most of it already. But it was just a word that you read it once, you can never get it out of your mind. It's BepiColombo.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the BepiColombo missions that kind of explored Mercury. So apparently they've been going on for a long time. And let me think, it was BepiColombo 3. That was the first spacecraft to deliver materials for the shields to Mercury.
Yeah.
You see, I tried to memorize this. So
sure,
BepiColombo,
notes.
Exactly, BepiColombo 1 was the first one to get to Mercury. Number 3 brought the material. And number 5 carried robots that then started building the first shields.
Yeah. Right, and they were robots from the Dirk Corporation.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it has Dirk all over it. I think we mentioned Dirk in one of our previous episodes. Yep. They have the monopoly on Mercury energy. It's doing they share with everybody, but of course they're right there in the middle and they're making a lot of money.
They own the infrastructure itself.
Yeah, I mean, Solar's officially involved, but of course in reality they don't really have much to say. It's purely capitalism. But that's of course. It's really close to the sun. So there's all kinds of nice things you can say about Mercury, but it's pretty damn hot. And
too hot for people, for humans.
Yeah.
At least on the side facing the sun, which is where all the solar panels are, which is where all the work, or nearly all of the work, needs to be done.
I don't think there actually has been a human on Mercury ever.
Not stationed permanently.
Okay.
Like I say, humans can't even survive on the side facing the sun. The side facing away from the sun is really cold, so you can't. It's not a nice place to live. I mean, the atmosphere, all other reasons are no good. It's not good to live there, like long term. But there have been like just exploratory missions.
Okay. So even with humans.
With humans.
Okay.
But nothing, and not for a long time, because why do it? Because robots are much better suited, both to working on the side with the sun and just to working there in general.
Yeah. I also, because I understood the work is quite dangerous on Mercury, that it's one of the few places where robots actually die.
Yeah. Right, because they, like you say, a robot, its body gets destroyed here on Earth, but it's okay, its mind gets uploaded, it gets put into a new body. Yeah. On Mercury, there isn't that infrastructure, and the atmosphere is too hostile, so basically there's too much magnetic interference. So there's no way to transmit their minds before their body is completely destroyed. There can be a backup of them, a new robot can be built and have the backup memories put in, but it won't have the bit up until between that backup and the robot dying.
I had a few discussions with Napoleon about this. It's a robot friend of mine, and he meant there were, because I said also why it's the worst place for a robot to be. Why go there?
I mean, it pays well,
Exactly. It's like there's two reasons. One is really, it pays well. It is a really good argument for a lot of things. But the other one I thought was much more philosophical. He's saying robots have a real interest in energy. It's I think we mentioned it before, but our batteries aren't so great. So we just need constant energy coming in, and for humans, we're down on energy. We eat an apple. For robots, they're down on energy. They need more energy, so they need solar power. If there's no power coming from Mercury, we have billions of robots exclusively relying on this. And that's, they always have this inferiority complex where, but robots are better in humans in every single thing.
Pretty much every other way, yeah.
Except in one thing. We can eat an apple and they need solar power. So that's why they're there. They're just securing their existence, basically.
Sure, and the ones who live there, or who work there, as well as sending the electricity back to Earth for all the robots here, they have direct access. They're closer to the source.
That's true. And they, when they return, anybody returning from a service on Mercury gets welcomed like a hero in the robot community. You know, it's like
they're set for life.
You can have these little kind of like a badges. You know, you see them. You know, robots walking around. They have this little Mercury badge. You know, and they served on Mercury. You know, they're a good guy. Cool. I think what really helped is it used to take years to travel to Mercury. I understood the first BepiColombo mission took 3.5 years or so to reach Mercury. Now it's several months. But it's like for space travel, at least for humans, that's taking a while. Yeah. Especially, I mean, the technology that Illuminati have or so, they can travel way faster than we can. But what the technology that we have takes months. And like, we are pretty proud of it. People in the past, I think when the listeners are where they are, the time they are living, it probably took them years to get to Mercury if they were even getting there already. So I think a few of the listeners have emailed about this before, asking, do we really have all the energy we need?
Right, like limitless.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I mean,
or infinite. Yeah, so it's not really infinite, but for all intents and purposes.
Exactly.
And for what we can do with it.
It's free, and like in your daily life, there's no limit on things. And it has led to some excess. And for example, I admit that I don't always have my lights switched on when I leave the house.
Yeah, sometimes just leave them on all the time.
Funny enough, often when I come back, they are off because Mr. Dobalina, my PA, kind of knows where I am, and he just makes sure that it's that like the artificial intelligence, they have a bit more. They're a bit more sensible about energy, but as humans, we're like whatever, you know.
Sure, they're thinking a bit more long term. Humans still don't live anywhere near as long as robots presumably will be able to.
So do you have anything where you say, hey, I use a lot of energy for something, like have things running or use some things all the time?
I mean, there's no need to switch anything off. So sure, everything. It's a bit funny though. So sure, everything's on all the time, but everything doesn't use that much electricity. Yeah, like most things, at least, are very efficient. Teleportation does use a lot.
Yeah, but like you often teleport one station further away and walk the last part. So you're even though you could basically teleport into your room, you use the walking time for exercise. Yeah,
that's true. And I'm trying to think. So I was speaking with a friend the other day, and they were describing their house, how they had so many just devices, gadgets in every room, kitchen, bedroom, living room, every room. I was thinking about my own house, and here in my living room, I've got my main computer set up, it's where the most things are. But like my kitchen, there's obviously the food Congo, but that's about it. I don't have like so much in there, and so I guess I need to step it up. Yeah, like there's all this limitless energy, and I'm not really taking full advantage of it.
It's also interesting when you think of it, where since the emancipation of robots, where like they were recognized as sentient beings, there's a lot of small machines that are not in use anymore. So for example, I clean physically my own apartment.
Rather than having a robot
than having a robot do it, because like they're a sentient being. Is why would they clean my apartment? Why don't I do it myself? But even the small machines that are not sentient, robots consider them to be kind of like their small brethren. Right. And then it still feels
like people feel bad if someone's mean to a monkey.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels awkward when I have Napoleon visiting me and I have like an electronic vacuum cleaner cleaning the room, because it's like I
mean, I just remembered something that I do use that must use lots of energy. Like, the whole point is it's limitless, so it doesn't matter, but it uses a whole lot, and I just didn't even think of it, because it's not really a gadget. But the way I keep my house, like, clean of dust and dirt, everything's just teleported away every night. That's the kind of thing you can do when you've got limitless electricity, It doesn't run out. And actually, it's the thing where we can't store it, so if it's not actually used, I guess it just goes away, like it dissipates. Because it's coming from Mercury, but it can't be stored long term. So you may as well use it for cleaning everything using teleportation. I haven't questioned, where does the stuff that's teleported go?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well.
Yes, I never thought of that either.
I mean, it doesn't need to be rematerialized somewhere else. I guess it's just dematerialized and gone. Converted into information. I mean.
There's a lot of a lot of things. If you suddenly pause to think about, it's like I never thought about this. How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
We should maybe explore that. We can have an episode about where does the dust go.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not just dust, waste of every kind, sewage.
I know some of it is recycled, like all the food you throw away gets recycled into the Congo network.
Yeah,
like it
turned into the pebbles.
Yeah, totally. I think what maybe normal everyday people don't really have this access because you don't consider it anymore, really. So you don't
like
do
I
it
say,
on purpose.
almost forgot about it.
But you still have things in the world where that needs a lot of energy, like the intergalactic escalator that uses
the flying cities. They probably use quite a lot to keep themselves up in the air.
Totally. Zeppelins. Yeah. I think one episode, it's we spoke about the Mercury blackout that we had. So that happens. So sometimes it depends on how things are aligned. The moon and Earth and Sun and Mars and whatever, all the planets are aligned. It happens regularly that something is blocking the energies coming from Mercury. Then we have a blackout. Sometimes half an hour, sometimes half a day.
Mm-hmm.
That is annoying because our batteries aren't really great.
Yeah. I mean, when that happens, basically everything has to, what little is managed to be stored needs to be used to keep those floating cities up. That's the kind of thing you can't really skimp on. But then that's why the rest of us who aren't living in the floating cities, okay, then we just have a blackout for a bit.
I mean, it's really doesn't mind. Like you play board games, you light a candle, you go for a walk, or you sleep. You know, whatever.
Which is what I did last time and usually do.
Exactly. So
I mean, you always get to, at least my job and most people's jobs, you need a computer, you need electricity to do your job. Hey, no electricity, take the day off, or the half hour off, or whatever. You can't do work during that time anyway.
And also, I mean, you're working with telekinesis. That doesn't require energy at all, right?
Right, but that's not my job. That's sure. If I wasn't tired, I could do some more training with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but for me, my job is a lot of talking, so I don't really need energy for that as well.
Yeah, but you want the lights on.
Yes, talking with the lights on. Yeah, if there's a blackout during the day, we just...
Okay, in the day you can go outside.
Yeah, but we basically close the UFO pool hub for the day, so we okay, everybody knows that. It's like if there's a blackout, it's like, hey guys, tomorrow is the day off because there's a blackout, fine. So
yeah, they're not... it's very rare that their surprises they're planned for in advance.
Yeah, but I hope we will still figure out the battery issue. Especially there's this massive robot NGO that is just researching.
What's NGO stand for?
Non-governmental organization.
Yep.
And they are just massively investing in battery technology.
Right. Everyone's interest would be served by better battery tech. Robots especially, like way more than anyone else, for the reason we described earlier. So, I mean,
as far as I understood, Napoleon, every robot has a tiny part of a wage that they're making goes into this NGO, which is like publicly funded.
The research,
yeah. And then they just need the right minerals. On Mercury they found scandium, lots of it,
and there's a whole lot of robots there who can mine it.
Yeah, too bad it's totally useless.
Yeah, you can't do much with it.
No, it's like they found it on Jupiter, they found it on the moon, and then we still haven't figured out. Would be great if they could figure out a technology that uses scandium for batteries. Man, then they would be set for centuries. There's so much scandium.
Anything else on Mercury?
No.
People in the past who are listening to us right now. If you have questions about Mercury or anything we've talked about today, please write to us at michaellasagna5@gmail.com.
Exactly. We actually got a few questions.
Yeah, leading into that.
There's been a few emails they weren't connected, but listeners email us and they ask us about previous episodes. And then that's something that we didn't realize, but because we don't really listen back to our episodes. But we can't.
Which is concerning.
Which we didn't know until this week.
Right, we we record, we edit, we get it all ready, and at that point we can still listen to it. You
Yeah.
know, like I'll give a quick listen to check everything's okay. Then we send it back, and now we've tried to go back to listen to the previous episodes. We remember recording them, we have notes, but we can't listen to them. The files are just gone.
We have a few outtakes, we have the notes, but at the moment they go into the low fidelity wave burner, they disappear. So we're saying we're sending episodes back in time.
We're actually sending them back.
They're actually sending them back, and they're no longer here. It's like a package.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, doesn't like we didn't know that because
we
were
don't
listening.
need to re-listen to them, but still, it's a bit hard. So if you ask us questions about them, you may need to go into a bit more detail because we can't easily check back what we said.
We will remember most of it because of the notes and so on. But that occasionally could be ask a question, and then we didn't really have the possibility to listen back exactly what we said. And then we got another question, which I thought makes sense, from Petros Mengis. He says, "How are Simon's wings coming along?"
They are coming along pretty well. Thank you, Petros. Let me stretch out my arms so I can give people an idea roughly how big they are. When I stretch my arms out wide, they're coming up out to about my wrist. So they're almost, I think, about another month's worth of growing, and they should be fully sized, fully grown. They look good, I think. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I see that you were having a shirt specially tailored for your wings to come out.
Exactly, with some slits there at the back.
Yeah.
They just peek on out.
And then like with a little zipper. And then, okay. Is it easy to get them on?
Not super easy, but that's where teleportation comes in. Like if you try and put this on like a regular jumper, it's a bit of a hassle. With teleporter, you just teleport it onto you.
Whoa, I thought you're teleporting to a friend and then they put it on.
I mean, you could do that too, but no, I just teleport the clothing. It's the kind of thing before I just put my clothing on the old way, the way I grew up with it. But now, with the wings, it's a bit of a hassle. Hey, why not use a teleporter?
Man, that's excessive use of energy.
yeah, I forgot about that too earlier, but
But but I think they look nice. I don't know how many weeks or months you still have to go, or
I think the end of April is when they're meant to be finished.
Okay,
so a few more weeks. Yeah. Well.
And then I think before you were saying that you needed anti-grav
belts. Yeah.
Belts.
Right. Right, because the wings themselves, they look real nice, but because I haven't also changed the internal structure of the rest of the bones in my body, I'm still too heavy to fly. Like those wings cannot provide enough lift.
You can flap them.
Flap them, it looks real good, but not enough to actually fly, at least not here on Earth with Earth's gravity. The gravity belts, basically make a field around our bodies, if we wear them, that makes it as if we were in a lower, or higher if you wanted, but in this case, a lower gravity. So that I can fly with them.
Nice.
And okay, I'm going to use my wings because it looks cool. If you just adjust the setting on the belt, you can also fly without the wings. Just flap your arms.
Ah, okay. I think I've seen this.
It looks funny. Yeah, you see people flying through the sky, flapping their arms.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so every person I see flapping their wings, flying. I mean, I'm saying every. I think I saw 3. I saw 3 at once. Like
altogether.
A few months ago, and then never since. But they were probably then using anti-gravity belts. So do you have one already?
I've got the belts. Yeah, I've got a couple here. You want to try one on?
Try right now.
Yeah, let's give it a go. One sec. It's in the other room. I'll be
Have
back. I'll just go get them.
Okay. Have you used them before?
Yeah. Not much, but yeah. I switched it on. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to fill the time now. So Simon has just left the room to get his anti-gravity belt. We're gonna use it live on the episode. I hope it's gonna be as exciting as when we went to Mount Caspac in Georgia in the Down to Earth episode. And there we are.
Here we are.
Oh, they look pretty.
2 different models. Take your pick.
They look pretty simple, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not so complicated.
Let's.
They need to be pretty lightweight, yeah, because you added too much weight. Well, I don't even know. Maybe that would be fine.
Okay.
So, got mine almost on. Yourself?
Yep, I have it.
Okay.
So how do you switch it on?
So we've got slightly different models, but it's basically the same idea. This is the on button.
Okay, this is the on button.
Yeah, and this dial you turn to make yourself lighter or heavier. You know what I mean, yeah, to affect gravity one way or the other. I don't see an off button, but I guess you just turn it down.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Cool. Shall we try?
Yep.
Shall we count to 3?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Whee. Okay, now turn the dial.
It's working.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. At least you too. Yeah, we're floating up to the ceiling.
It works.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm already at the ceiling now.
Oh yeah. My wings are bumping here into the curtains.
Oh.
Okay, but we're up here.
It's an audio show. We're floating.
We're totally floating up in the air. My ceilings are reasonably high, but not super high, so we're already up here.
Okay, well, you have to take our words for it, but we're really flying. Let's go down.
Let's go back down. Yeah. So
how do I go? How do I switch it off?
Well, I guess first let's make it so we're low, closer to the ground.
It's like I press the on button, but it doesn't work.
No, and my dial is stuck. Or
so mine doesn't even have a dial.
Oh, you just switched it on?
I just have to. Exactly. I pressed the button and I went up.
Maybe I should have read the manual first.
Shall we just take it off? Oh no, we're falling.
Yeah, we are reasonably high up. It might hurt.
Okay, then I would say we just end the podcast and
we can end it.
out.
Right, this isn't so interesting for the listeners.
Thank you for listening.
Yep. Thanks for. I said it all. So, send us an email. michaellasenia5@gmail.com if you heard this and you have questions for us, and we'll reply to you in a future episode.
Exactly. Right. So we're up here. Thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye. Okay, how do we
switch off the podcast from here?
Can't switch it off. You got anything to throw? My pockets are empty.
I got my keys. I'll try with my keys.
Yeah, try throwing those at the... close, almost. Anything else? What's that? Hey, give that guy a coaster. No, but closer.
Okay.
Last try? Or that's your last thing you got on you, yeah?
Yeah, let me try. I hope this works.